Well, well. The UK media briefly put the knives down, blinked twice, and admitted the obvious. Mark the calendar, frame the headline, alert the historians. Because somehow, some way, in a twist nobody had on their bingo card, sections of the UK media finally conceded that Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, looked stunning as she attended the annual 15% pledge fundraising gala. Yes, stunning. Not controversial, not divisive, not sparking debate, just stunning. A basic human observation, reached after years of professional resistance. And before anyone tries to downplay this moment as just fashion, let's be very clear. This wasn't just a dress. This wasn't just a red carpet. This was a reluctant confession from an industry that has built an entire cottage economy around pretending Meghan cannot do anything right, look good, or exist peacefully without causing a constitutional crisis. So today, we're going to talk about the look, the moment, the media meltdown behind the scenes, and why this one appearance quietly dismantled a whole lot of carefully curated nonsense. Let's set the scene. Meghan arrives at the 15% pledge fundraising gala in a soft blush pink strapless gown. Clean lines, sculpted silhouette, elegant without screaming for attention. And then, as if to remind everyone that subtlety can still be powerful, a long black train flows behind her like punctuation at the end of a very expensive sentence. Period, full stop, conversation over. The styling was intentional, not busy. Hair pulled back, face glowing, minimal makeup, drop earrings doing exactly what they were meant to do without auditioning for their own headline. No chaos, no over-accessorizing, no desperation, just confidence, restraint, and taste. 3 things tabloids never seem prepared for when it comes to her. She didn't look like someone trying to prove anything, and that's the part that always rattles cages. Meghan never looks like she's asking for approval. She looks like she already knows she's fine, and everyone else is just catching up at their own emotional pace. Now, let's talk about the event itself, because this part always gets conveniently shoved into paragraph 6 right after they mention Beyoncé for SEO reasons. The 15% pledge is not fluff. It's not a vanity charity. It's an initiative focused on economic equity, urging major retailers to commit at least 15% of their shelf space to Black-owned businesses. That's real money, real access, real impact. Not vibes, not symbolism, actual systemic change. And Meghan didn't just show up to be photographed. She showed up aligned with the mission. Again, as she always does. But here's where things get interesting. For years, the UK media has treated Meghan's appearance as a problem to be solved, rather than a reality to be reported. If she looks good, it's calculated. If she wears something simple, it's boring. If she wears something bold, it's attention-seeking. If she smiles, it's performative. If she doesn't, she's cold. Heads they win, tails she loses. The rules are flexible. The conclusion is always pre-written. Except this time, the photos ruined the script. The images from the gala were undeniable. The public reaction was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. Social media lit up with praise. Fashion commentators broke down the look with genuine admiration. Even casual observers, people who don't live in royal discourse trenches, had the same reaction. She looks incredible. And suddenly, editors were stuck. You can practically imagine the newsroom energy. Long silences, someone scrolling through comments, someone else sighing and saying, "We can't lie about this one." Another person suggesting they mention Beyoncé to soften the blow. And there it is, the reluctant compliment, carefully worded, surrounded by filler, but still unmistakable. She looked stunning. That sentence alone probably caused at least 3 migraines. Because once you admit that, everything else starts wobbling. If she looks stunning, maybe she isn't the miserable outcast they've been selling. If she looks confident and happy, maybe leaving was actually good for her. If she's still commanding attention years later, maybe the irrelevant narrative expired quietly in a corner somewhere. And that's the real issue here. Meghan didn't just look good, she looked unbothered. She looked settled. She looked like someone who is living a life that works for her. And nothing enrages critics more than a woman they tried to break who looks like she's doing just fine. Notice what she didn't do. She didn't clap back. She didn't post a cryptic quote. She didn't leak a response. She didn't explain herself. She showed up. She supported a meaningful cause. She looked phenomenal. She went home. That's it. That's the whole playbook. And somehow it keeps working. Now let's talk about the obsession with tying her to Beyoncé every single time she breathes in public. Meghan attends a gala connected to a major cultural initiative, and suddenly headlines are bending themselves into knots to mention Beyoncé as if Meghan needs proximity to be relevant. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Meghan doesn't need to borrow relevance. She's been a global figure for years. She's connected to philanthropic networks, cultural leaders, and influential spaces because of the work she does, not because of who she's standing next to. But the media loves a hierarchy. They need to place her somewhere beneath someone else because acknowledging her standalone influence would require honesty, and honesty has never been their strongest muscle. What's especially funny is how predictable the pattern has become. Step 1, Meghan appears. Step 2, photos circulate. Step 3, public reacts positively. Step 4, media hesitates. Step 5, media reluctantly praises appearance. Step 6, media quickly pivots to, but some critics say. There it is, the emotional whiplash paragraph. The one designed to remind readers that they're supposed to be conflicted, even if their eyes are telling them something else. But this time, even that felt weak. Because how do you undermine a woman who looks calm, elegant, and entirely in control, attending a fundraiser focused on economic justice, without sounding unhinged? You can't. So they didn't. They folded. Briefly, quietly, but noticeably. And that matters, because moments like this expose how much of the narrative around Meghan has always been manufactured. When reality becomes too visible, the illusion collapses, even if only for a moment. Let's also talk about why her fashion choices consistently trigger disproportionate reactions. Meghan's style is not about trend chasing. It's about clean lines, timeless silhouettes, and intentional drama when it counts. She doesn't dress to please tabloids. She dresses for the room she's in, and she understands optics better than most people who comment on optics for a living. That black train wasn't random. It wasn't excessive. It was controlled drama, the kind that says, I know exactly where I am, and I belong here. It moved as she moved. It photographed beautifully. It commanded space without noise. And yes, it echoed a certain old Hollywood elegance that always seems to resurface when Meghan steps onto a formal carpet. The difference is, she wears it without nostalgia. It feels current, confident, modern, which, again, disrupts the narrative. Because Meghan is supposed to look awkward or overdressed or out of place. She's not supposed to look like she's been doing this her whole life, except she does, every time. What we're really witnessing here is not a fashion moment. It's a power dynamic shift. The UK media doesn't control the public perception of Meghan anymore, if they ever truly did. Social media, global audiences, and visual evidence have diluted that power. When people can see for themselves, the spin has less grip. And this gala appearance made that painfully obvious. The comments weren't confused, they weren't split, they weren't hesitant. They were clear. Praise, admiration, support, even indifference from people who don't usually engage, which is its own kind of victory. No outrage cycle, no scandal, just a woman looking stunning at a meaningful event. The audacity. And let's not ignore the deeper layer here. Meghan's presence at events like this reinforces something the media desperately tries to ignore. She didn't disappear after stepping back. She didn't fade. She didn't become irrelevant. She transitioned. She recalibrated. She built something different. And now she shows up selectively, intentionally, and on her own terms. That kind of autonomy is deeply threatening to institutions built on control and compliance. Every appearance reminds people that leaving it didn't destroy her, it freed her. And that truth is louder than any headline. So when the UK media bows, as some are calling it, understand what that really means. This wasn't praise out of goodwill. This was surrender to reality. Temporary, begrudging, but unavoidable. They didn't suddenly become fair. They just ran out of angles. And Meghan didn't have to say a word. She let the dress speak. She let the cause speak. She let her ease, her posture, her smile speak. And the message was simple. She's fine. She's thriving. She's still here. So yes, mark the calendar, frame the headline, alert the historians. Because for one brief moment, the knives were down, the bias slipped, and the truth slipped out. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, looked stunning. And no amount of backtracking can erase the fact that everyone saw it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.